Morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Let's jump into our cosmic weather for today, see what we have to deal with. Solar wind at the moment is 284.2 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is like it was yesterday, quiet, and will be the same the next 24 hours. Coronal holes, we see nothing of major significance here at this point, and our geomagnetic storm activity as well as our chance for flares are down like they used to be. Really very low, not really much of anything at all. Alright, just looking for anything else here we need to be aware of. We did have that solar flare come off the other day, so we'll be feeling that over the course of the weekend. It says filament of magnetism snaking more than 400 kilometers around the sun became unstable and erupted on the 6th. So we'll feel something of that. Alright. Astrologically, same sun sign. So the Sagittarius, Truth Seeker, Wisdom, Jupiter. Tarot card of Temperance, which is about balance between the conscious and unconscious world, Archangel Michael. Then we have the unconscious right here, which is represented by the moon, and today we're between two signs, so that's called the void of course. Void of course because we're between the two, and the two we're between are Virgo and Libra. Virgo and Libra. Virgo's an earth sign, Libra's an air sign, so we're making that transition in the unconscious from earth to air. Earth is form, how we use things, the practicality of the way we use things. Now we're moving into air, but not only air. In tarot cards, Libra is the card of justice, so it's about karmic balance. So we're moving into a place where our subconscious mind wants to make sure that our karmic related issues are all squared away, dealt with, being dealt with. Okay? So this is what's going on here, and that's going to be over the course of the weekend. We've got Libra and void of course moon on Sunday. So if you feel this inner sense of justice over the course of the weekend, it's because you've got a Libra going on underneath the surface in the unconscious mind. Alright? And then we're going to go from here to our moon phase. The waning moon, 39% of the way full. And we move from there to our Mayan Oracle. We're at 11 tone day. 11 is called the spectral tone of liberation. It's like where you dissolve, where you take some salt or sugar, drop it in water, and dissolve it. So it dissolves, but the whole water becomes sweet. Or another analogy is like Obi-Wan Kenobi when he got struck down. He told Darth Vader, if you strike me down, I'll become even more powerful than before, and he did. So that's the idea of the 11. It dissolves. You dissolve your energy to become part of a bigger. Phrase for today is I dissolve in order to explore, releasing wakefulness. I seal the output of space with the spectral tone of liberation. I am guided by my own power doubled. And then on the Gregorian calendar, it is the 7th of December 2012. Alright, so we are moving right along. So from today, we're at the 2-week point. 14 days from today is 21st. It's going to be curious to see how these next 14 days unfold and the conversation that unfolds, because as people are getting through their holiday work and getting into the time where they're going to have time off, they'll start thinking about these. As more people are watching television shows and the programs that are on, this is going to be more and more of a topic until it gets to that point. So you're going to hear all sorts of conversation from the skeptics to the full believers and everything in between. Should be interesting to see where it all goes. So we shall find out together. Now, yesterday I played the first part of this piece. I'm going to play the second part of it because this was really an awesome piece and it's worth hearing the whole thing here. Alright, here we go.
Before you came into the body, all of you committed to designing events that would fire your codings or blueprints, that would activate your memories. Then you came into the body and you forgot. All of you have had your blueprints and codings fired to some extent because you understand that there is a divine purpose or divine plan that you are a part of. You hold the history of the universe within your physical body. What is occurring upon the planet now is the literal mutation of your physical body, for you are allowing it to be evolved to a point where it will be a computer that can house this information. The firing of the codings and the realization of your identity are going to become phenomenally intense. The reason for this is the evolving DNA. When you have 12 helixes of DNA in place, those helixes will begin to plug into the 12 chakra system. The 12 chakras are vortex centers loaded with information that you must be able to translate. You have to become super beings in whatever reality you enter because, as members of the family of light, the branch of renegades, this is your forte. As members of the family of light, you know the inside scoop. You come as ambassadors to make realities merge and become more informed within themselves so that everyone involved can release fear and become uninhibited. As you grow and come to these higher realms of recognition, you will break through what feels like cement blocks, layers of yourself that have held you down. Think of the frequency that has limited the human experiment as a radio station. The human experiment has had one radio station on for 300,000 years. Same old tunes. The human experiment was unable to turn the dial and hear a different band, so the same frequency was broadcast. This created a quarantine, a sealing off of this planet. The creative cosmic rays sent by Prime Creator and the original planners pierce through this frequency shield. They bombard Earth. However, they must have someone to receive them. Without a receptacle, these creative cosmic rays would create chaos and confusion. You, as members of the family of light, come into this system to receive these rays of knowledge. You then disseminate the knowledge, the new lifestyle, and the new frequency to the rest of the population to alter the entire planet. The ultimate tyranny in a society is not control by martial law. It is control by the psychological manipulation of consciousness through which reality is defined so that those who exist within it do not even realize that they are in prison. They do not even realize that there is something outside of where they exist. We represent what is outside of what you have been taught exists. It is where you sometimes venture and where we want you to dwell. It is outside of where society has told you you can live. What we want more than anything else is to assist you, as members of the family of light, to succeed in liberating the humans. Focus on the dance of yourself. To what tune will you dance, and to what magic will you perform, and to what heights will you be willing to push consciousness to give it a new definition of possibilities? Members of the Bringers of the Dawn or Family of Light work in teams. You don't go into systems alone. You need each other to do this work because you cannot hold the frequency by yourself. By going in as teams, you increase the odds of successfully carrying out the plan. You are like rays and light spirals of the central sun that are very intelligent, and you are guided by a great intelligence inside the central sun. The members of the family of light are much more than human. Characteristically, you are supreme achievers in the multidimensional realm. One applies for a position in the multidimensional realm as a member of the family of light. If you were to have a business card printed up for yourselves when you are in full memory of your identity, it would say something like, Renegade Member of Family of Light, Systems Buster, available for altering systems of consciousness within the free will universe, on call. We speak to you as if you are not human, because to us, you are not. To us, you are members of the family of light, and we know your multidimensional selves. We speak to you about dealing with humans because it is your assignment to integrate with them, soothe them, and awaken a spark of light within them so that they are not all destroyed, and so that this place can house a new species and a new realm of activity. Our final words include a thank you to all of you who recognize the light source that is a part of your identity and that moves you to follow the silent whispers that echo down the golden spirals through the corridors of your own being. We honor you, we recognize you, and we are here to assist you. We are all here as the family of light to bring that choice and that freedom to evolve back onto this planet. Family of light, wake up.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order.
We have the power. We just need to take it back from this level of division, apartness, can'tness, to isness, I amness. I am all that is, ever has been, and ever will be-ness.
Some people might not know exactly who the Pleiadians were.
They're here to rescue the human beings who are being enslaved on this planet and forced into a paradigm of a super oligarchy.
This is the level of the transformation. This is the level of the revolution, if you want to call it that. It's not guns, it's consciousness.
What a mind job. So you're here to save the world. What do you say to something like that?
In order to walk among us, they disguised their appearance by cloning human flesh over their own reptilian skin. I thought everyone here was up to speed. But the visitors didn't just get here. They've been here for years.
This completion has been heralded by many for eons. What happens on Earth now will affect the entire universe.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. This is the UFO News for today. I have 5 stories for you. Story number 1 comes from Alabama. We have a silent cylinder object reported hovering over Alabama town. This comes from the Examiner. An Alabama witness at Jacksonville reported watching a neon green object hovering in the sky shaped like 3 cylinders on December 6, 2012, according to testimony from the MUFON database. The witness was outside sitting on the porch when the object was first noticed. I turned my head to put my cigarette out, and I saw the bright green flash out of the corner of my eye. The object was shaped like 3 cylinders, side by side. Each cylinder had a top and bottom shaped like a cone. The object was glowing. The outer edge of the area where each cylinder seemed to be attached were slightly darker shade of green and not glowing. The witness described the object's movement. They hovered for several seconds and then quickly dropped to the right above the tree line on the mountain, at which it turned into a vertical position to a horizontal position and moved above the tree line briefly before dropping down the mountain out of my sight. During the whole sighting, I heard no sound from the object. During its horizontal movement, there was a large gust of wind. I can't say if the wind gust came from the object, if it was just a coincidental nature wind gust. I felt no fear of the object, just shook at seeing it. I also observed no external lights on the object. It appeared more as if it were lit from within. There aren't any images or anything, just the story itself. But that's the report from Alabama. Now from Alabama, we're going to go to Colorado. Okay, we've got the orb. We've seen the orb many, many times. Folks, as complicated this is how it's done. Step 1, you go outside during the day and must have some blue sky to see the white orb against it. Step 2, you record an hour or more of footage and try to focus on one area of cloud rather than bouncing around from cloud to cloud. Step 3, you take your footage and review it on a large screen of a computer. This has to be done slowly or you will miss the orbs. Step 4, you may have to repeat the process 2 to 3 times before you can catch the orb. It's hard. It's that hard and time consuming. I have done it, but I just don't have that kind of time, and the sky here over Taiwan is cloudy for the last 2 weeks. But some of you can try this at home. So here's a video. Gets into showing some of the things that he found. Okay. Okay, there you go. See, he's got it circled. Okay.
That is incredible. I'm going to show it to you.
Alright, so there you go. There's a lot of analysis here on what this guy did, but there you go. You got video capture over Colorado. From there, this is a story of a skinny cigar shape over Indiana. This just took place just recently as well. An Indiana witness at Greenwood reports observing a silent solid object that was gray and shiny cigar shaped, moving overhead about 1 a.m. on the 5th of December. I was looking south and noticed a rapidly moving solid object with no lighting whatsoever other than the moon lighting up the night sky. It was moving from south to north-northwest as it went directly over my head, the witness stated. The solid, unlit object was grayish, long, and skinny cigar-shaped, and was approximately half a mile to even wider and approximately 30 to maybe 100 meters long. 5 meters wide, made no sounds that went over me. Made a slight left directional change, and then disappeared from my view. Alright, it's over Indiana. From there, the next story is above Los Angeles. This was on the 5th. New interesting footage, some kind of disc-shaped, unidentified flying object hovering above Long Beach in Los Angeles, California. There we go, look at that. Purplish colored lights. Very interesting lights. So there you go. Check out that link there. See what you think. It is available. And our very last story here is Stephen Greer. And we've heard about his research and all the work he's doing with UFO disclosure and the upcoming movie Sirius. Well, here's a little bit of a, let you hear what he has to say. Just a little sample. This is a 15-minute piece here. Play the whole piece. Just a little sample.
Yeah, my story and how I became involved in this issue is rather complex and goes back over 40 years. My uncle was the senior project engineer that designed the lunar module, which was the thing that landed on the moon with Neil Armstrong in it in 1969. And I was a young boy when he was working on that and had an interest in space and all of that because of family. But also around that time, when I was about 8 or 9, I saw a beautiful, seamless disc, round-shaped craft in daylight in the afternoon with some boys in the neighborhood where I grew up in North Carolina, in Charlotte. And there was a Douglas missile plant there at the time, and I think that perhaps they were investigating this missile plant. But we saw it and then it just vanished. It didn't float away, but it was hovering silently. And I became extremely interested that I had seen something from another world. And so I began to look into this matter a great deal. And as time went on, I really got involved very heavily and had a number of experiences with these ET spacecraft and the beings on board them over when I was a young man, late teenager. But in 1990, started an organization known as the Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, which is CSETI for short, CSETI. And it's a nonprofit, and its main prime purpose is to create groups of people to go out to areas like you have in Norway, where these objects have been seen, and not just observe them, but to interact, to signal to them, and to interact with the intelligence behind the spacecraft. So that we began to do in 1990. And of course, we immediately began to have amazing successes. We went down to near Opan, Belgium, near the German border. We had a massive triangular craft that came right over us, vibrating with the tones we were sending up. We went to Florida, near Pensacola, and did an experiment on the beach there by the Gulf of Mexico, and had 4 of these objects appear, signaling to us with lights back and forth for about 20 minutes. It was on the front page of the paper the next day, and it was witnessed by 40 or 50 people, 2 of whom were Air Force pilots. And we then went to Mexico near the volcano Popo, the large volcano, and we had an incredible encounter with a massive ship that was about 800 feet on each side of a triangle, almost 3 football fields on each side. And it came over and hovered over us and turned and was signaling with us while we were contacting the pilot on board. And these began to happen more and more. And so by 1993, our group concluded that not only was it possible for humans to make peaceful diplomatic contact with these visitors, but that it was very important that the world know this. So we started a project that's known as the Disclosure Project, which people can see at disclosureproject.org, where we began to identify military and corporate and CIA intelligence officers who had personal knowledge of the classified operations dealing with this subject, and to get them to come forward with our information to disclose this publicly. And that Disclosure Project really began in 1993. And around that time, of course, I was asked to brief President Clinton's team and his first CIA director, R. James Woolsey. So between 1993 and the year 2000, we spent a great deal of time not only putting together the evidence and the proof, which is available at disclosureproject.org, but meeting with members of the Senate Intelligence Committee in the United States, meeting with former ministers of defense in Great Britain, people who were in the White House staff, and of course very high officials at the Pentagon, including the head of intelligence for the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the director of the Defense Intelligence Agency, to name a few.
All right, so I'm going to leave it right there. The video is available for you to check out, but it's a 15-minute video. Pretty good information so far, so check it out, see what you think. All right, and moving on from there, I got to jump away for a moment. I'll be right back.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of them.
All right, moving right along. Got a bunch more to get to, so let's get to it. Okay, so yesterday I talked about the minor victory that took place in Michigan with the National Defense Authorization Act. Let me show you the most recent thing that is going on with this. Here we could see that the Senate unanimously passes 2013 NDAA, power to arrest Americans remains. So, in Michigan, they stood up against this. But senators in this country have betrayed the American people by unanimously passing this bill. This is horrible, folks. You need to pay attention because these are traitors in this country. It says just after 5 p.m. Tuesday, the Senate did it again by a vote of 98 to 0. You had 2 senators abstaining. Lawmakers in the upper chamber approved the fiscal year 2013 National Defense Authorization Act. Not a single senator objected to the passage once again of a law that purports to permit the president, supported by nothing more substantial than his own belief that the suspect poses a threat to national security, to deploy the U.S. military to arrest an American living in America. As the New American reported, an amendment of the 2013 version of the defense spending bill passed by the Senate clarified the right of citizens and permanent legal residents detained under the relevant sections of the revamped measure. The amendment, known as the Feinstein-Lee Amendment, was co-sponsored by Dianne Feinstein, Mike Lee, Rand Paul. In an interview Tuesday, the New American spokesman for Lee and Paul admitted the amendment did not go far enough in the defense of due process, but says it was a step in the right direction. Colored by our experience with the due process amendment to the NDAA we offered in 2012, we knew that we would have nowhere near the number of votes needed to pass an amendment that guaranteed due process for all persons detained under the NDAA. You can see there's a bunch more to the article. If you think that this country, if you're an American and you think that this country, the people running this country are really thinking about you, please stop thinking that. These congressmen, they are selling you out. They've been selling you out as Americans for a long while, and they're continuing to do so. If you happen to watch that movie, What Are They Spraying on Us?, you would have seen the section where the person doing the documentary was talking to members of Congress and how they ran. How they ran when he posed to them the question about this spraying that was taking place on Americans. They ran. They knew. That's why they were running. You could see the looks in their eyes. They knew about this. They are authorizing spraying of American citizens and now the detaining of American citizens. Your government is not your friend. If you think it is, you're being fooled. Now, I would like to believe that our government could be our friend because there was a time that it was. And when I say the government, I can't say everybody in the government because there are good people there. But for the most part, there's some really, really, really bad apples. And in this case, there are 98 senators who should be charged with treason and thrown in jail for what they just did against the American people. Yet how many Americans out there are going to stand up against this? Probably not very many, because most are too apathetic to know what's going on in the world. Folks, you're being sold out. You've been sold out. Not being, you've been sold out. Okay, so something just to be aware of. Now, yesterday there was an earthquake, or today, let's listen to this. This is Dutch Sense.
Bless Dutch Sense here. 3:05 a.m. Central Time on Friday, December 7th, 2012. And we're looking at Earthquake 3D, a USGS feed of the most recent earthquakes. You can definitely see it, a 7.3 magnitude earthquake, followed by a 6.2 magnitude earthquake struck off the east coast of Japan. And let's just go ahead and get the statistics on this. Very sizable for the region, definitely felt throughout the country. We do need to be aware and be prepared for further movement in Japan. If you can remember last year, there was a 7.2 3 days before the big one hit. So we do need to be aware on that. Now, again, the statistics show 22.4 miles deep, and that's relatively shallow for these large earthquakes. So it was for sure felt throughout the region, and the 6.2 aftershock was in a slightly different location. You can see it just off-center a little bit, and it was at a slightly shallower depth. I think that was at 18 kilometers. So have a plan and be prepared, folks, okay? And if you get any confirmation stories on this or any video, go ahead and post it down below in the reply box, okay? Cheers.
Alright, so if you're out there in Japan, be safe. Certainly getting hit with a lot of stuff out there, aren't they? Okay, this is a video here. I want to bring this to your attention now. We talk about Congress. Congress has sold out America. And then NASA. NASA is another agency. Never a straight answer is what they say about NASA. Well, NASA has not been honest with the people for a long while. And here's a video. A lot of times people accuse NASA of doctoring photos. It's been going back for a long while. Well, here's information. It deals with that subject, but they're not doctoring photos of rocket ships. They're doctoring photos of the sun. Check this out.
Or News presents Shoot a business ahead, bitches. Alright, we're looking at the NASA Lasco Soho cam. What was that? Did you see that?
I've watched these cameras a lot the last 2 years, and I've never seen anything like that.
Did you see that? Alright, I'll have to slow it down for you. Got a couple big CMEs. Boom!
Oh, that's a big one.
And there it was again.
Look at it again.
See that dot? That dot then becomes that line.
That's what I'm talking about. Did you see that?
What is that? There is some object at 2:30 mark of the sun, and then right after that, the weirdest thing I've ever seen on this camera. See? Straight line coming out of the top, straight line coming out of the bottom.
Seriously?
The entire right side of the sun lights up, but not the inside part, meaning like the light is coming from the outside.
What is that? Not normal. There was no flash before it. There's no flash after it. There was some strange thing in the upper right, about 2:30 it's on, and then two beams shoot out of it, and the entire right side of it lights up. What is that?
What's going on, NASA? A lot of weird shit coming on. And here on the Lasco Camera 3,
if you notice 12:30, CME's going up. Oh look, 12:42, CME came back down. 13:30, CMA is going back up again.
That is crazy shit.
Frontal mass ejection shoot out, draw back in, and then shoot out again? No, what happened is NASA took these cameras down, the footage for about 3 days. They scrubbed it. They scrubbed out the dark material, and then they put it back in. They made an error. We caught it. Right here is proof they're doctoring the cameras.
I know because I downloaded it before they took it down, cleaned it, and put it back up again.
Here we have the famous footage of darkening. See, there.
So the same footage that NASA took down and then put back up a day later, after they cleaned the darkness out, they made a mistake. And in that mistake, they defied Newton's laws of physics. Going up, oh, look at that, it comes back. And then it goes back up again. So NASA clearly made a mistake when they took the footage down to clean it. So it specifically shows that NASA alters the footage, A, before we see it, and sometimes after we see it. Going on, NASA. A lot of weird shit coming on. A lot of weird shit, man. Doom on, doom on, doom on, doom on, doom on, doom on.
Alright. There you go. So, the guy's a bit passionate about what he's doing, huh? Alright, very good. So, NASA is not telling you the truth, okay? So, one thing that, by this point in time in life, you have to realize, you can't depend upon your governments to tell you the truth. You can't depend upon the leaders in any government-related agencies. It doesn't suit them to tell you the truth. It's not in their vested interest. So if you can't rely upon them, who are you going to rely upon? Well, yourself and everyone else. Because there's more of us that make up the general population than there are those who make up the government's administration. We are the people. We've got the power. There's more of us than there are of them. Okay? When we really get that, that there are millions and millions and millions more of us than there are of them, we will take our power back. But until that time comes, we're still kind of figuring things out, because there's a great deal of society which doesn't fully accept that they buy in too much to the lie, that they're powerless to the government and what the government is about and what the agencies tell them. It's not true. We all have this ability, these gifts of the Holy Spirit. One of them is the gift of discernment, to discern what is right and wrong, to be able to go down the highway of life and choose the paths we're going to go down, and go down the ones that are going to be the most beneficial. So if we don't pay attention to our own individual rights and work together collectively to help keep those rights in place, we're not going to have these rights, because they're being taken away. They're being taken away. Now, the way I see it, we've gone so nuts on this planet that there really isn't anything that we're going to be able to do, because it seems that it requires everybody needs to stop at once, and we all need to stop and take a breath and figure out what we're doing. But the chances of everyone on the planet stopping are slim to none, because if one side says they're going to stop, the other side says they'll stop if you stop, no one's going to trust that everyone's going to stop, because someone's going to still want to feel they have the edge over somebody. So the only way that I see that there's going to be any stoppage of what's going on is if there's some sort of natural global disaster that stops everyone, or is if there's some sort of divine intervention, or if there's a mass landing of ships that come down. Those are the only ways I think we're going to be able to see some sort of attention and get everyone to stop. If there's something else, let me know. But it just seems that the whole rat race is too crazy, and people are too consumed with their lives and too consumed with all of the propaganda thrown at them to really pay attention to what's going on. So, just my 2 cents. Now, we're 2 weeks away from finding out what all of our ancestors were talking about for such a long period of time, why they were so intrigued by this moment in time. And as we get closer to this date, we are finding things that they had talked about that are coming to reality. So one of the statements here that has been up has been about the Tibetan monks. And this is a statement that, let me just read it here. It says, Tibetan monks' startling statement for December 21st. Well, recent news headlines from remote viewing monks disclosed some interesting events. A news report has been issued regarding some imminent earth changes. Lama of the monastery under Gaikik Kielis, known as the Oracle of Shambhala, told how to survive the apocalypse, which he said will last for 2 weeks. He said, if you believe the predictions of the Maya before the apocalypse less than 2 months, although the scientists, as they should be, are loath to believe in the absurd predictions, astrologers and soothsayers are seriously discussing what will be the designated end of the world. So Tibetan lamas do not hide the fact that the risk of a serious accident is quite large. In late December, the solar system planets line up in a row, which is a unique case. In his message to NASA, Lama Monastery Grandek under Kilas, known as the Oracle of Shambhala, said that on December 21st, the Earth, along with the solar system, passes through the galactic zero band. Fall and winter will be warm, and from December 21st, 2012, Earth will begin to pass through the galactic zero band. This is a special state where the blanked and the not be subject to any energy was completely dark and silent. The electricity and communications, darkness will be accompanied by flashes of light, as well as the play of light and shadow. Sometimes it may seem that roam figures, as if the dead rise from their graves. Earth will shake slightly, like small earthquake. Some buildings can be destroyed, warned Lama. Animals feel the earth before the coming of the cosmic dark and go to ground, said the monk. People in cities do not feel so, are the victims of insanity, can be lost 10% of the population. Oracle Shambhala painted and practical recommendations for humans. 1. Prepare for this change of cycles to complete all of the works in 2012, not to tie new, pay off debts. 2. On the 20th, take children, all documents, cash, get out of town to the countryside, prepare a supply of food for 2 months. It is necessary to have the house supply of water, firewood, and candles for lighting. You need to have stove in the house, and electricity stops flowing from the 21st. And communications and TVs turned up during the dark days. Hang windows dark, not to look at them. Do not believe your eyes and ears, not to go out. If you see the need, you cannot go far. You can get lost as you even your own hands. So what he's saying is during this time, it says disasters according will last 2 weeks. Through the echoes will be felt for some months into the beginning of February. The total yield of the Earth will from the zero band expected in February 7th. There will be a partial restoration of electricity transport. By late March, the world will recover completely. The end of the world will radically change the outlook of people. According to the Oracle Shambhala, it will become more spiritual. In developed and developing countries will blossom a variety of scientific and spiritual teachings, systems, development, and health individual. So, and even amongst this, it says scientists continue to claim the fears are unfounded. New evidence suggests that the ancient Maya did not apocalypse prophecies. Okay. So, it's a good article. And it's tied in with this other article that they talked about extraterrestrials, landings that would be taking place. So, according to this story, there's a lot to be expected and a lot that's coming up. So, just be aware of it. Be aware of it. There's going to be a lot of skepticism during this time. Not everybody wants to believe this. And in the face of what this represents, people don't want to believe that the end of the world, the end of their life may be coming. So, denial is part of the factor. And perhaps that's part of the thing that will be a saving grace. Perhaps it's people's belief that they can make a difference and keep things going in the midst of this will be one of the factors that keeps things moving along. Because it requires all of the earthlings to participate in the process. But first they have to unplug from what they're doing, and the only way they're going to do that is if God gets everyone's attention. Because right now, people aren't paying attention. And a lot of people on this planet, they don't really care what God has to say. So, if God speaks loud and clear, everyone will stop and everyone will listen. Perhaps that's what we're coming to, because that seems to be the only option we've left ourselves with. Alright, the very last piece before we get into our meditation today is I'm going to play this part of a movie. I played a couple days ago a trailer for this movie, Crossing Over, and now this is the full movie. The movie itself is an hour and 44 minutes long. We're not going to watch the whole hour and 44 minutes. We're going to watch, 5, 8, 10 minutes or so. All right? Check this out. The link will be available so you can watch the whole movie. And here we go.
We are at that time when a great transition takes place.
The society, the way we know it now, is changing very rapidly.
We have to go along with the change that's happening, as opposed to fear it and resist it.
We have all heard about 2012. It's doomsday. The world will end, mankind will end.
Some people have got this idea things will stop, things will end a catastrophe, but actually none of the philosophy is saying that.
The agenda seems to be trying to put a negative spin on it, to radiate fear out on the planet as opposed to love.
And love is the glue of the universe.
The more one loves and finds unity in this world and harmony, the more the blessings will be when that time comes.
When you get up in the morning, the sun will be shining. It will be just like another normal day. But what might happen, I feel, could have been a great change in consciousness.
A prophesized acceleration of both technology and consciousness is occurring right now, which is right on time with what's been decoded from the Mayan information.
All shall benefit on different levels. Even the unawakened will benefit, because That's how the universe elevates souls.
What is getting ready to happen is a positive thing. It's a step forward in an evolution. It's an awakening in consciousness.
If we have a good look at our solar system and how it works, the moon goes around the Earth is rotating and orbiting the sun. Now our sun, in turn, is orbiting Sirius. In the great orbit of our two suns, we have turned the corner from the Dark Ages. Now they're pulling towards each other, bringing us to a higher consciousness. So we're really in just a great time in history to be living. It's just an amazing time. The great changes that we will see with our own eyes will just be stupendous. The new world of love is coming.
Life on Earth is affected by many cycles: the light of the day and the dark of the night, and our yearly cycle of the 4 seasons. The stars in the sky are linked to life on Earth and greatly influence our existence. That which is above is the same as that which is below. As above, so below. But what if there is a greater cycle that takes thousands of years, which influences human consciousness? According to many cultures, much like the seasons that are familiar to us, humankind undergoes a similar cycle in which consciousness expands and contracts. It results in great ages of enlightenment and dark ages of misery. Different cultures refer to this cycle by different names, including the Yuga cycle or the ages of man. But one thing is certain: these cycles are known to almost every ancient culture throughout the globe. The Hindu Yuga cycle consists of 4 ages: the Kali Yuga or Dark Age, Dvapara Yuga, Treta Yuga, and the Satya Yuga, the Golden Age. During the Golden Age, human consciousness is at its peak, where unity is celebrated and life is lived in peace, love and harmony. In the Silver and Bronze Ages, our consciousness begins its descent to its lowest point, the Dark or Iron Age, in which suffering and ignorance is at its peak, and humans are divided and at war. That is our current age. Then the cycle makes its way up again to the Golden Age. These 4 ages influence the rise and fall of civilizations across the globe. It is believed that we are at that time when the Dark Age is coming to an end and the Bronze Age begins. And the crossover is taking place during the galactic alignment on December 21st, 2012. The mainstream media throughout the globe depicts this date as the end of the world, in which catastrophic events will extinguish all life on Earth. The end of the world theory is based on the Mayan long count calendar, which ends exactly on the 21st of December, 2012. Although many claim that the Mayans have predicted the end of the world, there is no evidence to suggest so. The Mayan calendar simply resets on this date as one cycle ends and a new one begins. Many believe that the marker left by the Mayans indicates a great change in consciousness as we leave the zodiac age of Pisces and enter the age of Aquarius. The date has become the most anticipated day in history, and while many are anticipating it with love, others anticipate it with fear. What were the ancients trying to tell us? Is it the end of the world, or is it a time of great change in human consciousness?
Man, know thyself, and you will know the universe and all its gods. So when one understands that we are the microcosm of the macrocosm, the stars that go above and around in various different cycles, then we understand the connection between us and the God.
Individual people by themselves, groups, societies, the mood of the whole planet can all be altered, can all be changed. And the reason for that is because The planet, groups, societies aren't what they appear to be. They're just another level of consciousness. We're all consciousness.
If consciousness changes to a higher vibration, which I feel is happening in 2012, then the society, the way we know it now, will not be there anymore. The old has to go. The new has to come.
Religious traditions are looking forward to this time because they know that it will bring much peace and love and joy and wisdom to mankind.
You become aware what you really are. You become aware that you're one with God and that you are God.
Individual little elements or atoms of that divine.
And when one realizes the God within us, he can see the God within everyone.
Just trust in love, everything else comes.
The universe knows what we need, and the solar system knows where it's going. The sun is flying through the heavens, taking us to new places, so we can rest assured that we're in good hands.
We have all heard about 2012. It's doomsday. The world will end, mankind will end, comets come down, and who knows what.
Well, some of the things to do with 2012 that are out there are quite contrasting, aren't they? To say the least. People are looking forward to terrible things happening. There's a lot of fear out there.
Some people have got this idea things will stop, things will enter catastrophe, but actually none of the philosophy is saying that. They're saying it's the beginning of something new.
The negative things out there would probably be better off discarded.
I think that the 21st of December will be an ordinary day in real terms, except we'll all go, phew, if we make it, and go, now what? Oops, it's the 22nd. Is that the first day of something new? Or is this a gradual process that's actually been happening?
Well, the December 21st date is one that we don't have to get ourselves tied up in a knot about. Some of the Mayans' information is saying it's actually a window of time, and it started maybe 2007 and it's extending out to 2015.
And the clock struck 1 and everything was sorted. It's never ever going to happen. It's a gradual process. It cannot possibly happen. Suddenly I ate this cookie and all of a sudden, wow, it all happened. It's just nonsense. You won't get anyone to touch someone on the head and everything will be completely clear. None of these things are going to take place. It's going to be an ordinary day. That's what I suspect.
On 21 December 2012, when you get up in the morning, the sun will be shining, or it's clouded, whatever, and nothing has changed. It's just another day. And then you think, where was all this doomsday talk? Comets come down. Where is it? It doesn't affect us in that way. It will be just like another normal day. You have nothing to fear. But what might happen, I feel, could have been a great change in consciousness.
All right, so obviously there's a lot more to this. It's hour and 44 minutes altogether. So links available so you can watch this whole movie. It's a great movie. I watched it last night, and you do the same thing today or over the weekend. All right, let's jump to our meditation for today. Close things out. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Okay. I want you to imagine all of your chakras are activated. The bottom of the spine up, red, drawing the energy from the earth. Orange at the belly button. Yellow just below the rib cage. Green at the heart center. Blue at the throat. Violet at the third eye. Indigo at the crown chakra, and the light continues on into the cosmos. connecting to the above and below. Honor your connection to all that is, was, and ever shall be, and feel the energy flowing through you. Now imagine, as you are seeing this energy flowing through you, that you see within you that this energy inside is the same as the energy outside. That when you examine closely the space inside, you see the stars, you see the lights, you feel the space. And you realize at that moment that your connection to the earth is not a permanent physical connection, but simply a temporary connection of energy vibrating at a certain rate. And as we learn to vibrate our energy at different rates, we learn to experience other phases of these dimensional energies. So let's imagine as we look around and we see others in the world, that we send out love. Let's just imagine ourselves as receiving energy from the universe, receiving the love and then sending the love out. We receive it and then we send it. We receive it and we send it. To each and every individual we see, no matter who they are or what they've done. This is an opportunity for all of us. And we must learn to forgive. Let God deal out the punishments. Our job is simply to forgive, to move on, and just keep sending out love. So for the course of this weekend, let us set our conscious mind, our unconscious mind, on autopilot with a mission to seek out love, to seek out the love in ourselves that is hidden, to seek out the love in others. Let us find ways to explore the issues of love, what it is and what it isn't. And let's just imagine as we send love to each and every one, that we make ourselves stronger, wiser, and better connected. I'll take another deep breath. And as we continue to allow our subconscious mind to contemplate the ideas of love, let us bring our conscious mind back to the present moment and continue on. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. All right. There you have it. Thanks for being here, my friends. It's been another great week. This was the 799th show, so next time you see me, it'll be show number 800. Feels like it just the other day when I got started here, but it's been a long ways. Anyway, you have a great weekend. I will talk to you next week. Just keep focusing on love. Watch the videos that are up there. Watch this full movie. And we'll reconvene on Monday, and we'll see where we go from there. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.